Okay, so now that we got that, all the setup out of the way, we can write some tests. So there really is no right or wrong way to do this. You can co-locate your test next to your components. You can make a test folder in the app directory. You can put an underscore in front of it so it's ignored by Next.js. I'm just going to put it on the root, call it test. Keep it simple. Oops, not a file, but a folder. Cool, so we have test right here on the root. And then let's make a test for the, what's a simple one? How about the homepage? It's simple, but it's got some auth in it. It's doing some async stuff, so we can figure out how to get around that. But simple enough to where we can try this out. Let's do that. So I'll make a new file in here. I'll call this home.test.tsx. And there's still some setup left. Still got to do a little more setup. And this is where I was banging my head. Okay. So I don't know if you've ever used testing library before, but these are common: render and screen. And then this was one of the first times I've ever used vtest. So I've never used the v thing before, but I guess if you use it before, it seems cool. I think I'll be using it going forward if it matters to anybody. And then we just want to import our home page. So I'll just call this like the home page from app page. So we got our home page here. And then from there, because before we test it, our home page has these third-party modules that it imports, right? If we go look here, it imports next link, it imports clerk. The next link one's fine because it's just a component. But this auth one from clerk, this is doing something, and we don't really, I don't want to test this. I just want it to go away. So we can mock that out. And the way that we can mock that out with vtest is using v.mock. You can mock out an entire path to a module, and you can just return an object that will mimic the object you would get if you imported this path. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to mock out the auth. We're going to mock out clerk provider because that's in the layout. We're going to mock out use user. We're going to mock out a lot of this stuff. So let's do that. So we can say v.mock. We're going to mock out clerk /next.js. It's a function. And then we honestly just return an object here, like so. And then we want to mock out something called auth. That's the same auth that is being used here. We're going to mock that out. It's going to return our new function that we have ourselves. It's an async function, so we'll just return a promise that just resolves to some fake user ID because that's really what we're using it for. So I'll just say new promise, like this, resolve, some user ID of whatever, like that. There we go. So we got auth mocked out. And then we want to mock out the clerk provider. Probably don't need to. Well, actually, I think the auth depends on that. So I think that's why I decided to mock it out, even though it's only being used in the layout file, which we're not importing and testing. I think auth depends on the clerk provider being there. So we have to mock it out. So we'll mock that out. I mean, that's really just, we just need to make a fake component that renders its children, because that's what a provider does. So children, and a div here that has its children. All right, getting somewhere. And then the use user one, I don't think we used this, so I'm trying to think, why did I put this here? I think I had a problem. This is the one that I had to go look up all this stuff that was happening in Clerk. So I think I had to, for some reason, the way Clerk was importing and exporting stuff, this was getting in the way. So even though I don't think we use this hook because we don't do any client-side data checking, I had to I had to mock this one out. So I'm just gonna mock it out. Use user. That's gonna be a function that returns an object. And it's just got these properties on it. I'm just actually just gonna copy them because they don't really care. Some fake user and is signed in, true or false. Doesn't matter, these values don't matter. The next one is this mock is here just in case you want to test the layout. I think I was testing the layout at one point, and the layout uses this font function, next font Google, and that was causing problems. So I just mocked it out and told it to go away. So I did that, but I don't think I'm using the layout anymore. If so, we'll add this. If not, not a big deal. So now we can make some tests. So I can say test this homepage like so. It's async like this. And then really all I have to do is render the page, and I can await the page being called, not that, the home page. And once that is rendered, now I can do my screen. So I can say expect, screen, what's a good one? Yeah, get by text. I think that one's good. So screen.get by text. What's on the home page? We have tracking your mood or something like that. Maybe we really care if that's on the screen. To be truthy. So we just expect screen by get text to return some element. And if that is an element, that's truthy. So if we set everything up correctly, oh, we got one more thing to do. We have to add a command for our test. So if we go to our package JSON, make a new command in the scripts, call it test, and then you could just say Vitis. And then we can just say npm test and see if this works or not. Cool. Okay, so it looks like it did render though. That's great. So it looks like our test is just bad, which is so good. So they were just so this worked the first time. That's so good. Yeah, it just didn't find the element, right? So, I'm guessing get by text doesn't look deeply into that. So I don't know, let's pick a different one. Let's say get started. Cool, get started, and that passed. So once you render this page like this, you can pretty much do whatever you want at this point. It's just regular old, assertions with expects. You can do snapshot testing, however you want to do it. This is the only part that's just tough, and then the mocking part. Everything after that, there's really nothing new to it than any other React framework or anything else. It's literally the same thing.